This is the Transformers Generation or G1 Autobot Scout Hound. Now, this figure was first released way back in the mid 1980s. And this is well, the online seller I bought this from, says it's a reissue, but I'm honestly not aware of any G1 reissue of Hound. There is the cartoon accurate reissue of G1 Hound, which I will do a comparison with this one. But I think it's fair to say that this is a knockoff, and it's a very good looking knockoff. And I think this is like a AAA replica of a knockoff of the old G1 figure, down to the box. The box looks legit. The plastic is a little bit sketchy. I put some adhesive on it, but it came delivered and the plastic was just unhinged. The glue had dried up or whatever. The figure does feel loose inside his clamshell. So yeah, I think we'll call it what it is. It is a knockoff, but it is a very, very good replica knockoff of the original thing. Cannot wait to show this off. It's still sealed. Let's get this guy out of packaging. And here is the KO version of the G1 Hound out of packaging. And I can tell you right now, there are a lot of tells that really confirm that this is in fact a knockout and not the real thing. But it's pretty darn close to the real thing. I'm even surprised that some of the details are very accurate to the original. Anyway, here are the bits and pieces that came with it. He comes with his gas tank, comes with the spare tire, the mounted cannon, all done in vac metal, chrome. So is the missiles. I'm not gonna take them out. Just not in the habit of doing that now with these reissues. Here is the shoulder cannon. Vac metal is a little spotty on this one. There's a lot of fingerprints here and there. It's not as pristine. You can see that all the scratches as this one. This one's like really, really good. And then here's his hollow gun, I should say, done very nicely compared to this one. This one I believe is spring loaded. I can tell you there is a spring right there. It's just not coming out in the camera, but there is a spring there. Okay, and then he comes with an instruction booklet. It's pretty close to the original, but you can see that the images are a little grainy, making it, confirming that it is really a knockoff. The sticker sheet right here, you can tell it's a knockoff, not because of the color. The colors are great, but it's the way that they've been die cut. Look at this. Part of the reason I haven't really stuck on the stickers and the decals is because of the imperfections. Look at this. The cut on these are for the arms. It's a little skewed. It's not properly cut. This one's okay. This one again, not entirely cut perfectly. Logos and all that. Now to create a perfect illusion that this is a G1 reissue, they've actually included a rub sticker, a rub symbol, which doesn't really work. I mean, if you put your finger and you heat it up, it sort of works, but it's not all there. And had this been an original reissue, this would have been stuck right here, just like the original. It would have been there, but it's not. So clearly it's not. It's a shame because it looks so much like the original, with a few tells. Anyway, it also has this decoder, red cello plastic decoder, and if you're not familiar with this, back in the 80s, we had this to decode the specs. See, the specs had these red lines, and then if you put the decoder, you could clearly see his strength, intelligence, speed. It's like a graph on it. I thought this was a pretty cool thing to do way back in the 80s. Anyway, that's that. So all the elements of a G1 reissue or the G1 toy is actually here. So you even have the robot points, you got the UPC, you got everything. On the figure itself, the figure looks almost like the real thing. It's you can tell the color is correct. It's got the die-cast bit right here. The feet are die-cast. You've got vac metal pieces here and there, but upon closer inspection, you will see the inconsistencies. For instance, the tires. They are made of I guess, a paler black rubber material. It should be a little bit darker than that. The arms are not completely straight. Also, the holes are way too big. This is what really gives it away. The gun should be a snug fit, and it's not. Unfortunately, unlike the Springer reissue, which was a near perfect copy, this one, I think they missed the mark on this one. Also, the main thing that really gives this figure away is the head. The head doesn't really transform properly. I'll show you right now. Maybe I can try and show it off right here. It doesn't quite go down. You need to sort of wiggle it, and then it loves to it gets caught somewhere around the edges, and it just doesn't want to go down or go up properly. But it does transform okay when going from alt mode to robot mode. So that's that. Last thing that gives it away that it is a knockoff is this windshield. It doesn't really rotate properly. It gets caught somewhere along the hinges. There are moments when you feel like you're going to break it unless you kind of sort of adjust it and move it down. So that's a shame. But overall, I'm still pretty good. It's a 90%, 93, 95% accurate reproduction of the G1 original. Okay, so let's do some comparison with the reissue. This is the G1 cartoon accurate colors reissue of G1 Hound. Now this one's pretty legit. It's a Hasbro product, but you can clearly see the obvious differences are the colors, and the material feels the same. I'm not gonna question the authenticity and disparity of the materials, but you can see the wheels right here. The Hasbro version, I think, does it better. The rubber material used for the Hasbro version seems to be a little bit more premium than this knockoff. The knockoff feels a little bit cheap. Also, the wheels look a little bit smaller on the knockoff. They're both riveted, so that's fine. The die-cast metal seems to be the same weight and quality. That's that. The head sculpt has been changed. I think the knockoff tried to copy the original, so the original looked like this. The newer one has a more human-like cartoon face. The tampos that they put on the reissue have the star here and the Autobot logo here, whereas in the original you would put both stars here, and you would put an Autobot logo here and on top of his head, which is that's not what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to copy this one and put an Autobot here and a star right here. There's supposed to be some decals right here, which is not reflected in tampos over here. The fists or the arms have some tampos here, which reflect what the stickers would look like if I had put them on. There's some tampos right here on the taillights. This one does not. So yeah, this one really looks nice. The only thing that this one does better, I think, is the vac metal pieces. Would have been nice if they had kept the vac metal pieces, but they were trying to make it as accurate to the cartoon as possible, so okay. Spare tire covers are made of different textured plastic. Different molds, I think, but very, very similar. I think this tried to be true to the original. This one is the newer one, so okay. But very similar. The gas tank, though, is another story. The cartoon colors accurate version, and this one is the G1. I'm guessing they didn't change it. I think this is what the actual G1 gas tank looked like, and they sort of remolded it for this reissue. I think this is a much better looking tank or canister. Yeah, they bored a hole onto the handle. This one does not have that. And then missiles, different mold. I think this one, you can easily rip it off because it's just pegged onto the bottom. This one has the original back in the 80s. They were really done like this. I think this is how it was originally in the 80s. They just changed it to this one. The shoulder mounted cannon, this one looks pretty much the same, with the only difference is this one no longer has the spring, where this one still has the spring inside. You can hear it. Yeah. This one's noisier because of the spring. This one does not have a spring anymore. Okay, and then the mounted gun. This one looks to be the same. Oh no, they changed it. There's ridges right here. This one does not have ridges on top. Yeah, and like I said, the knockoff really tried to copy and reproduce the original. The hollow gun, man, this one just looks so much nicer done in vac metal. This one just looks really cheap in this pearlesque gray. But the molding seems to be the same, with the slight difference on the handle. This one's a little bit thinner, this one's thicker, and then there's a little bit more of an extension in that part of the gun. This one's a little bit more flat right here. So yeah, not sure which one's closer to the original, but yeah. Okay, those are the main differences in terms of weight and all that. I'm not gonna bust out the scale. I'm gonna guess they're pretty much the same, although this one just feels a tad bit heavier, just by a bit. And here's what I was saying, in transforming the head on the original or the reissue, the actual product of Hasbro, the head really goes down perfectly, whereas this one, as I showed off earlier, you need a little finagling just to get him to go down. Okay, and with the windshield, you can see on this one, it just rotates perfectly. This one kind of gets stuck. You'll have to sort of adjust the position just so you don't break it off. Now for the stamped copyright on the Hasbro product, the reissue, it already says made in Vietnam, not made in China or made in Japan, and it already has Tomy. And it says 2023 Hasbro. Whereas the original, I think they tried to reproduce the original stamped on copyright of G1, and it says copyright Takara Company Limited. That even has the Japanese characters. And it says Japan, 1980, 1982, and the old Hasbro logo, copyright Hasbro logo, 1980, 1982. So this was the original. I'm guessing that's exactly how it looked like the original G1, and then this one is the reissue. And just quickly, as far as the weapons go, you can slide the shoulder cannon easily. And then, like I mentioned earlier, the gun just does not stay on the fist. It's an error in measurement by a few microns, which kind of sucks. I wish they could have done a better job with that. Transformation. Okay, you want to fold up the arms. And then these wheels, they're going to rotate up like this, very tight. And then you're going to just push the arms inwards, and then the wheels are going to pop up like that. Okay, fold up the windshield. At this point, you might want to rotate these very gently. You want to fold the chest up, and then like I mentioned earlier, you want to wiggle the head so it drops down. Okay, and then you want to collapse the chest back to the waist. That will complete the transformation on the front part of the Jeep. Fold up the seats, and then the feet, you're gonna fold up like this. Man, they're tight joints. I mean, for a knockoff. And then just fold the seats back, and there you go. I mean, transformation back then was a lot of fun, a little bit simplistic, but it gets the job done. It was really such a cool feeling to transform it into robot mode, from robot mode to Jeep mode and vehicle mode and back into robot mode. And back in the day, if you had these things, you were the most popular kid on the block. I remember I had one. But I sold it off because it was all banged up and dinged. Kind of regretting it right now. But okay, so you put the mounted cannon right here on that peg. Oh, it doesn't quite stay on. I don't want to force it in because I don't want to scratch the vac metal chrome. So we're just gonna leave it like that, and then the spare tire. Oh, it fits perfectly, very easily compared to the reissue. And then the tank or the canister, the gas canister will fit right there. And there you go. Wow. It really looks like the real thing. I mean, if you don't handle it too much, you put it on display, no one would be the wiser. Obviously, the stickers aren't on, and yeah, you want it to look more authentic, you put on the stickers. And let's bring in the reissue. Oh yeah, cartoon accurate, toy accurate. I really like the colors of the toy. I'm sorry, but the cartoon colors aren't that bad. I mean, if you want some show accuracy, sure. But the vac metal, the chrome bits, the dark colored, the dark green color on the original just really makes the figure pop. This one, at first glance, it looks cheap because of the light color. Only when you handle it, then you'll feel that it's very premium. But yeah. The original, well, it's a knockoff. It kind of squeaks when it rolls. Not a perfect smooth roll. This one, the reissue, very, very smooth. His Hound was just like Trax. He was my second Autobot. He was like, I took him everywhere together with Trax. A lot of memories, a lot of nostalgia with this reissue, with this, even if it's a knockoff. And so some final thoughts on this knockoff version of the Transformers G1 Hound reissue. I'm pretty happy with it. Hound was one of my all-time favorite G1 toys growing up as a kid. Just a lot of emotion, a lot of nostalgia with this figure. So I'm happy to have both versions, the cartoon accurate and the toy accurate version of these two reissues, as it were. So, I mean, if you're a big fan for G1 toys, these two figures are actually not too bad. If you want to hunt down vintage figures, sure. If that's your jam, go ahead and spend that money. But for me, I'm happy with the knockoff reissue, and I'm happy with the cartoon accurate reissue of this figure. The knockoff, I think I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I think the sheer amount of effort just to replicate the exact same details that the G1 had. I mean, give credit to these knockoff manufacturers. I mean, I don't want to say that I agree with knockoffs. It's just that given today's economy and the rising prices of these vintage original figures, it's just literally impossible to get the old figures, to get G1 figures without getting the knockoff. So I hate to admit it, but I'm kind of glad that there's products like these out in the market. And the manufacturer for this one is actually pretty good, and it's made me think that they are selling the G1 Dinobots. They're obviously reproduction knockoffs, but they seem to look pretty good. And given the track record, at least in my experience, from this manufacturer, the G1 knockoff Springer and this G1 knockoff Hound, I think I'm going to buy some more. Don't hate me. I mean, I don't want to support knockoffs, but I mean, that's the only way to go, right? If you really want the old G1 toys. Anyway, I really enjoyed this figure as much probably as I enjoyed the cartoon accurate reissue. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of these G1 Hound reissues. Hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of my latest video reviews. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.